gave this vehicle enormous wings to fly, and it did. In the end, 1,935 street-legal Superbirds found their way to buyers, with the race version clinching the 1970 Grand National title. Among these, only 135 units were equipped with the legendary Hemi engine. Today, these rare Hemi Superbirds are highly coveted, often fetching millions at auctions. One standout example is an orange Superbird that made headlines when it sold for a whopping $1.65 million at a Barrett-Jackson auction in 2022, setting the bar as the most expensive of its kind. The Superbird was like the Plymouth Roadrunner in many ways, including a nudge to Looney Tunes Roadrunner. However, while the Roadrunner had the animated character's badge, the Superbird's horn was made to sound like the animated character, making this vehicle truly special. Number 36. 1964 Ford Thunderbolt. Another Ford makes it to our list. This time it's the 1964 Ford Thunderbolt. Ford took performance seriously with the Thunderbolt, implementing several weight-saving measures. The car was designed with a singular focus on drag racing. Only 127 units of this beast were ever produced, making it a rare and iconic piece of automotive history. The 64 Thunderbolt featured fiberglass hoods and bumpers, plexiglass windows, and stripped-down interiors, all designed to enhance speed and agility. Under the hood, it roared with a 427 cubic inch V8 engine, delivering a staggering 425 horsepower. Paired with either a 4-speed manual or a 3-speed automatic transmission, this powerhouse could blaze through the quarter-mile in the low 11-second range, a feat that was nothing short of spectacular for its time. Next up is an ultra-rare Chevy with a special engine. Number 35. 1970 Chevrolet Nova LT1 Copo. Number 35 is the 1970 Copo LT1 Nova, the rarest Chevy muscle car with a small block from the 70s. As the Camaro project wound down in the early 1970s, Yenko set his sights on the Nova, adding his signature performance tweaks to this compact model. He ordered 125 Novas through the Copo, or Central Office Production Order Program. These came equipped with the small but mighty LT1 small block V8, an engine typically found in Camaros and Corvettes. This 350 cubic inch powerhouse delivered 360 horsepower straight to the Nova's rear wheels. Yenko also chose the Copo 9737 package, making these Novas more than just fast. They were complete performance machines, built to dominate the streets. This package included an upgraded suspension system with beefier springs, improved shocks, and new sway bars to handle the extra power. A limited slip differential was also part of the deal, ensuring that all that horsepower made it to the pavement effectively. Once Yenko got his hands on these cars, he added his personal touches, swapping out the wheels for his own custom design and fitting extras like a hood-mounted tachometer and distinctive Yenko decals. These final touches made the cars not just high-performance machines, but also unmistakable on the road, unlike this next car that feels like you've seen it even in this video. Number 34. 1993 Ford SVT Mustang Cobra R. Next on the list is another beast from Ford's special vehicle team, the 1993 Ford DVT Mustang Cobra R. The 1993 SVT Mustang Cobra R holds a special place in American muscle car history as the first of its kind, designed to be the ultimate expression of the Fox body Mustang. Ford's special vehicle team spared no effort in crafting a car that emphasized raw performance and racing pedigree. To achieve this, SVT engineers stripped away 450 pounds of excess weight and fitted the Cobra R with the largest brakes they could muster. The car received a strut brace and a V-brace to enhance shell rigidity, ensuring a robust driving experience. The braking system featured heavy-duty 13-inch Kelsey Hayes vented rotors up front and 10.5-inch vented rotors in the rear, making it a formidable performer on both the street and the track. Under the hood was a 5.0-liter Windsor V8 engine, delivering 235 horsepower at 4,600 RPM and 280 pound-feet of torque at 4,000 RPM, with a compression ratio of 9:1. Performance stats for the time were impressive: 0 to 60 miles per hour in 5.7 seconds and a braking distance from 60 to 0 miles per hour of 140 feet. With only 107 units produced, the 1993 SVT Mustang Cobra R remains a rare and sought-after gem for enthusiasts and collectors alike. Alright, Folks, buckle up because, for the remainder of this video, you're only going to see cars with less than 100 units produced, starting with this next Mustang. Number 33. 1970 Ford Mustang Twister. First on our under 100 category is the 1970 Ford Mustang Twister, conceived in 1970 for American Raceways International, ARI. These Mustangs were intended to serve as pace cars and limited editions featuring distinctive side stripes and graphics. However, the ARI met bankruptcy and Ford's Special Promotions division had to pivot, repurposing the concept into a special regional promotion for the Kansas City Dealer Sales District. Named after the frequent Midwest tornadoes, the Twister Special saw 96 Mach 1s receive a unique makeover. Each of these rare models was painted in vibrant grabber orange and came with a black interior. The cars featured a functional shaker hood scoop, power steering, and power front disc brakes. What set the Twister Specials apart were their bold black mid-level side stripes and tornado decals on the rear quarter panels. As top-tier Mach 1s, these models were equipped with grille-mounted fog lights, aluminum lower rocker panels, a black honeycomb rear panel, competition suspension, and a 3.50 traction lock differential. This Ford Special is now among the rarest and most sought-after Mustangs, making them a prized find for collectors. Next is another rare Ford of a different caliber from the Twister, and unlike any car you've seen on this list. Number 32. 1966 Ford Fairlane 500 R-Code. Next is the Ford Fairlane 500 R-Code. Released in 1966, this vehicle marked Ford's serious entry into the high-performance arena dominated by GM and Chrysler. At the heart of the R-Code Fairlane 500 was Ford's legendary 427 cubic inch side-oiler V8 engine. This side-oiler design referred to the engine's unique oiling system, which prioritized the main bearings for improved reliability under high-stress conditions. The R-Code 427 was packed with high-performance features, including forged pistons, high-flow cylinder heads, a hot camshaft, and dual Holley 4-barrel carburetors. These enhancements allowed the engine to produce a conservatively rated 425 horsepower and 480 pound-feet of torque, making the Fairlane 500 R-Code one of the most powerful cars of its time. Despite its extraordinary performance, the R-Code Fairlane 500 was a sleeper in terms of appearance. Its understated exterior was largely indistinguishable from the standard Fairlane 500, except for a few subtle cues. The most noticeable of these was its fiberglass hood, which featured a prominent scoop designed to feed air to the high-revving 427 engine. Inside, the car was equipped with a dash-mounted tachometer, hinting at its true performance potential. The 1966 R-Code Fairlane 500 production numbers were extremely low, with only 57 units built. This car had us at tachometer, but it can't match this next car that is a famous racing legend. Number 31. 1963 Chevrolet Impala Z11. Next on our list is Chevrolet's 1963 Impala Z11. Arguably the meanest Impala ever produced, the Z11 was born during Detroit's drag racing craze. A lightweight Impala fitted with a massive 427 cubic inch V8 engine and a descendant of the legendary 409. The Z11 unleashed a jaw-dropping 430 horsepower and a colossal 575 pound-feet of torque, making it a force to be reckoned with on the strip, well before Chrysler's 426 Hemi entered the scene. Stripped of all unnecessary equipment, this Impala became the first stock car to break 120 miles per hour in the quarter-mile. Among the Z11 legends is Old Reliable, the most iconic of the bunch, which dominated the drag racing world with a 90% win rate during the 1963 and 1964 seasons. With just 57 units ever built, the Z11 is one of the rarest Impalas around, and also the most expensive. Pristine examples can fetch over $350,000, with the original Old Reliable holding the record at an impressive $525,000. Okay, let's switch things up a little bit by bringing not one but two different cars that are identical twins. Number 30. 1967 Dodge Coronet W023 and Plymouth Belvedere R023. Let's talk about two drag strip legends from 1967, the Dodge Coronet W023 and the Plymouth Belvedere R023. These two road-legal beasts were built for one thing: speed. On the surface, they were almost identical, with a few minor tweaks and badges to tell them apart. But under the hood, they packed serious heat. Mopar's brand new 7-liter Hemi V8, pushing out 425 horsepower. These cars were stripped down to their bare essentials. No radio, no heater, and in many cases, no rear seat. Even the battery was moved to the trunk for better weight distribution. And speaking of weight, the Coronet took things even further with a unique setup. Lighter brakes in the front and heavier ones in the rear to give those slicks extra grip off the line. Only 55 of each were made, making them rare, road-legal dragsters designed to dominate the track. And if you think this is wild, wait till you see what's coming up next with the 1970 to 71 Plymouth. You won't believe what they did with that one. Number 29. 1970 to 71 Plymouth Hemi Cuda Convertible. Next on our list is this 1970 to 71 Plymouth Hemi Cuda Convertible. Plymouth didn't produce many drop-top versions of the Cuda back in the day. Only 21 Hemi-equipped Cuda convertibles were built in total, just 10 in 1970 and 11 in 1971, making it a serious contender for the rarest American muscle car title. The low production numbers were partly due to the car's hefty price tag, which was on par with other high-performance legends like the aforementioned Ford Mustang Boss 429 and the Shelby GT350. The Plymouth Barracuda underwent a complete redesign for the 1970 model year, and for the first time in its history, it was finally eligible for the mighty 426 Street Hemi. The dedicated Hemi Cuda trim packed an incredible amount of power into the relatively compact pony car, making it the quickest Mopar of the classic muscle car era. Up next, we have a model from Oldsmobile, equipped with advanced outside air induction. Number 28. 1966 Oldsmobile Cutlass 442 OAI. Next up, we have the 1966 Oldsmobile Cutlass 442, a true symbol of muscle car excellence. In 1966, Oldsmobile produced a limited number of W30 models specifically designed for stock drag racing. Under the hood, these machines roared with a 400 cubic inch V8 engine featuring triple two-barrel carburetors. This powertrain delivered exceptional performance and cemented the 442's place in muscle car history. Although only 54 of these special W30s were built for racing, Oldsmobile made it possible for enthusiasts to upgrade their 442's with high-performance dealer-installed options, making these cars even more sought after by collectors today. Whether it's the raw power or the timeless design, the 66 Cutlass 442 continues to turn heads and command respect on the road. Number 27. 1971 Pontiac GT 37 LS5. Next is the 71 Pontiac GT 37 LS5. You are forgiven if you had no idea of this super special car from Pontiac, as it is often overshadowed by the more famous GTO. Positioned below the GTO in Pontiac's lineup, the GT37 was far from ordinary. The base model came with a 350 cubic inch engine delivering 250 horsepower and an optional 455 cubic inch engine. In its LS5 form, this engine cranked out 335 horsepower and 480 pound-feet of torque, offering a substantial boost in performance. Overall, the GT37 is rare, with just over 5,800 units produced for the 1971 model year. However, the LS5 variant is exceptionally scarce, with only 54 units built. Valuing such rare and less-known variants can be tricky due to limited market data. For a standard 250 horsepower GT37, Hagerty estimates a value of $12,700 in good condition. Number 26. 1969 Nova Yenko. Midway through our list is another Yenko special, the 1969 Nova Yenko. The second addition to the 1969 Yenko lineup was the compact Nova. Unlike its siblings, the 1969 Camaro and Chevelle, the Supernova was initially ordered in factory SS spec, featuring the 375 horsepower, 396 cubic inch big block V8. However, Yenko took things up a notch by swapping out each car's original engine for the L72 427, transforming these already impressive machines into some of the wildest cars Yenko had ever sold. With this upgrade, the 1969 SYC Nova could accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 5.5 to 6 seconds. Okay, we're switching gears again. Only 20 units or under of the following cars were ever produced, starting with this popular beast from Chevrolet. Number 25. 1970 Chevrolet Chevelle 454 SS LS6. Next is the 1970 Chevrolet Chevelle 454 SS LS6, which is as rare as a gem. The Chevelle was already a formidable muscle car, available with a variety of small and big block V8 engines. But the 1970 model introduced the LS6 upgrade for its 7.4-liter V8 engine, adding a single 4-barrel Holley carburetor that boosted power to 450 horsepower and 500 pound-feet of torque. Like many muscle cars of the era, the LS6 came with an intentionally understated power rating to keep insurance premiums in check, meaning its actual output was likely over 500 horsepower. For a greater portion of the classic muscle car era, General Motors had an odd restriction against engines over 400 cubic inches in its midsize cars. This limitation kept Chevys from competing with the big hitters from Mopar. However, in 1970, GM finally lifted this ban, and the Chevelle SS was among the biggest winners, becoming one of the most potent and sought-after muscle cars of its time. Good luck trying to get your hands on one. You'll be better off trying your hands on this other option from Chevrolet. Number 24. 1967 Chevrolet Corvette L88. Next is Chevrolet's 67 Corvette L88. Officially rated at 430 horsepower, the L88 was a genuine beast, but the real story was far more impressive. Designed to run exclusively on high-octane fuel, the 1967 L88 often delivered significantly more power than its advertised rating. Many enthusiasts believe the engine produced between 540 and 580 horsepower, placing it miles ahead of other great muscle cars of the era, such as the Mustang Shelby GT500 and Dodge Charger. At first glance, the 1967 Chevy Corvette L88 might seem like just another C2 Corvette, but it's far from ordinary. With only 20 units built for the 1967 model year, this Corvette is exceptionally rare. What sets the L88 apart is its powerhouse 427 cubic inch big block V8 engine, which boasted a forged steel cross-drilled crankshaft, forged connecting rods, aluminum pistons, a high compression ratio, robust lifter camshaft, aluminum cylinder heads, and the largest Holley carburetor ever fitted on a GM production engine. Let's take a break from Chevys and look at one of the most iconic Pontiacs ever. Number 23. 1971 Pontiac GTO Judge Convertible. Next is the 1971 Pontiac GTO Judge Convertible. While the Judge was a popular nameplate in its coupe form, it didn't garner as much attention in the drop-top version. The Judge was discontinued after 1971, and even the coupes are hard to come by, with only 340 examples produced. The GTO Judge was equipped with Pontiac's most potent engine at the time, a 7.5-liter V8 that delivered 335 horsepower and 480 pound-feet of torque. This engine was part of the Mountain Performance package, which was standard on the Judge. 1971 marked the end of the second-generation GTO and the discontinuation of the Judge Performance trim. Despite its horsepower being modest compared to the 454s and 426 Hemis of the era, the 71 GTO Judge was surprisingly quick and impressive in its own right. Only 17 of this bad boy was made, so if you want one, you're going to need a lot of money and a lot of connections. Up next is another Pontiac convertible with a little pizzazz that saw it sell for $1.1 million in 2023. Number 22. 1970 Pontiac GTO Judge Ram Air 4 Convertible. Next is the 1970 Pontiac GTO Judge Ram Air 4 Convertible. As one of the rarest and most coveted Pontiacs ever made, the 1970 Pontiac GTO Judge Ram Air 4 Convertible commands a hefty price tag, so it wasn't quite a jaw-dropper when a pristine example sold for a staggering $1.1 million in early 2023. This sale makes it the second most expensive Pontiac ever sold, trailing only behind the one-off 1954 Bonneville Special Motorama concept car. Most GTO Judge models don't hit such lofty numbers, but this particular example's rarity and condition pushed it to record-breaking heights. Only 17 GTO Judge convertibles were produced with the Ram Air 4 option, and among those, just 7 had an automatic transmission. The car that fetched $1.1 million was in showroom condition thanks to a meticulous full restoration. It wasn't the only high-profile sale of its kind that year. Another of the 17 sold for $572,000 at the same auction, and a third went for $445,500 in May 2023. Collectors certainly had their wallets out for these rare beauties, and knowing just how fast these guys can go, it's no surprise. This next car is a bit of a surprise, and if you're lactose intolerant, you may want to skip it. Number 21. 1963 Pontiac Catalina Swiss Cheese. The next car on our list is the Pontiac Catalina Swiss Cheese. This car is a fascinating piece of drag racing history, renowned for its innovative design and limited production. The name Swiss Cheese refers to the 120 holes drilled into its frame to reduce weight and enhance performance. The radical design was Pontiac's response to fierce competition, particularly from Chevrolet's new 427 Ci Z11 engine for the 1963 racing season. Equipped with a 421 cubic inch engine producing just over 400 horsepower, the Swiss Cheese Catalina was engineered to compete aggressively on the drag strip. Despite its potential, GM's decision to halt production early in January 1963 limited its numbers to just 14 units. This rarity, combined with its historical significance, has made surviving examples highly prized. In 2014, one such example, after an extensive restoration to period-correct specifications, sold for $530,000. The same one was subsequently sold again in 2017 for $430,000, emphasizing its continued value in the collector car market. Don't you just want to take a bite? Number 20. 1971 Chevrolet Corvette ZR2. Next on our list is another Chevrolet Corvette. This time, it's the ZR2. The 71 Corvette ZR2 is a striking example of American muscle at its peak, boasting a design that has stood the test of time and is one of the greatest V8 engines ever made. Powered by a 454 cubic inch LS6 V8 engine, the ZR2 represented Chevy's last hurrah before the automotive industry had to shift towards more fuel-efficient models in response to the oil crisis. Chevy went all out with the ZR2 package, equipping it with a Muncie M22 transmission, heavy-duty brakes, and larger anti-sway bars to handle its power. The Corvette ZR2 shared its engine with the Chevelle SS, though it was rated at 425 horsepower in the Corvette, compared to the Chevelle's 450 horsepower. Despite the discrepancy in power ratings, the ZR2 could sprint from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 5.3 seconds and complete the quarter mile in 13.8 seconds. In its era, the ZR2 was a powerhouse of performance and a fitting end to an era of unrestrained muscle cars. Its place in time makes it an exciting car that any auto enthusiast will love to own. However, with only 12 available, you'll probably have a hard time seeing one, let alone owning it. Even more scarce is this next Corvette from Baldwin Motion. Number 19. 1970 Baldwin Motion Phase 3 GT Corvette. Next on the list is the 1970 Baldwin Motion Phase 2 GT Corvette. Baldwin Motion was the first tuner to make a name for itself in the Corvette world, and the cars they created became nothing short of legendary. The process began at Baldwin Chevrolet, a dealership in Baldwin, New York, which would send brand new Corvettes to Joel Rosen's Motion Performance Speed Shop just down the road. There, these Corvettes were transformed into serial production specialty machines, built to order and loaded with serious performance upgrades. In late 1968, Rosen had a dream to create a fast, functional, all-American GT sports car, and that dream materialized in the form of the Phase 3 GT. This sensuously styled beauty featured a distinctive fastback rear window, a performance-tuned suspension, and up to 600 dyno-tuned horsepower, courtesy of either a 427 Ci or 454 Ci big block V8. Though most were powered by these massive engines, one Lucky Motion Corvette received a smaller LT1 350 Ci V8. In total, only 12 of these unique Phase 3 GTs were built between 1969 and 1971, making them some of the rarest and most coveted Corvettes in existence. There aren't many muscle cars as alluring as a coveted Corvette, but we've got 18 more cars to go, and we promise that each one is as unique as the last. The next couple of muscle cars have a production count of just 10 or less, so get your cameras ready. Number 18. 1980 Ford M81 McLaren Mustang. First in this group is the 1980 Ford M81 McLaren Mustang. Following the Mustang II era, which focused heavily on fuel efficiency with its lineup of four-cylinder models, Ford was eager to reassert the Mustang's performance credentials. Partnering with McLaren, known for its high-performance pedigree, seemed like the perfect way to make a statement. The McLaren M81 was developed to showcase the potential of Ford's 2.3-liter turbocharged four-cylinder engine, which had been promoted as a performance option. Designed by Todd Gerstenberger and Harry Wykes, the M81 was a clear upgrade. It featured a heavily tuned version of the base engine with a variable boost control ranging from 5 to 11 psi, a spoiler, hood scoops, fender flares, an improved suspension, and 15-inch German BBS alloy rims. These enhancements boosted the engine's output to 175 horsepower, enabling the M81 to accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in a brisk 9.76 seconds. Despite the positive reception, production of the McLaren M81 was limited to just 10 units out of an initially planned 250. Pontiac is never from a muscle car conversation, and another one of the company's convertibles is next. Number 17. 1969 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am Convertible. With only 8 units produced, the 1969 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am convertible takes center stage. Pontiac has rolled out plenty of cool and desirable muscle cars over the years, but few can match the allure of the 1969 Firebird Trans Am. This model marked the first time Pontiac offered the now iconic Trans Am package, cementing its place in the hearts of muscle gearheads. The 1969 Trans Am was the brainchild of Pontiac's general manager, John DeLorean, who intended it to outshine anything Ford or Chrysler could muster, whether on the road or the track. With just 697 units ever built, 689 coupes, and a mere 8 convertibles, it's no wonder the 1969 Trans Am is a pricey gem in the world of classic muscle cars. All 1969 Trans Am convertibles are powered by the Ram Air 3 engine, adding to their exclusivity and value. According to Haggerty, these unicorns are valued at an astonishing $690,000 in fair condition alone. For preem ones, the value skyrockets to $1,450,000. The rarity and desirability of these convertibles were highlighted when one of the 8 ever produced, specifically, the first one off the production line, reached a high bid of $1,900,000 at a Mecum Kissimmee auction in 2016. We bounce back to another Corvette with the 1971 ZR1 Coupe. Number 16. 1971 Chevrolet Corvette ZR1 Coupe. During the early 70s, GM was cranking out some of the most powerful production cars ever made. But rather than packing the 454 big block engine into the 1971 Corvette ZR1, GM equipped it with a 350 cubic inch V8, cranking out 390 horsepower. The 71 ZR1 had its unique charm, featuring body color roof panels, a removable rear window, rally wheels, and a luggage rack. While it might not have had the raw power of its big block counterparts, its rarity makes it highly coveted. Only 8 units were produced. The ZR1 name became legendary and has continued to appear on various Corvette models over the years, with whispers of a 2025 Chevrolet Corvette ZR1 adding to its storied legacy. However, it's hard to put a price on a car that rarely sees the light of day. The last original 1971 Corvette ZR1 sold for a hefty $220,000 at Barrett-Jackson nearly a decade ago. Next is a first-timer on our list. AMC's most exotic car is up next. Number 15. 1969 AMC AMX3. Number 15 on our list is the 1969 AMC AMX3. The AMX3 was an incredibly cool, mid-engined exotic car developed through a collaboration that spanned the world. AMC's design chief Dick Teague led a team that included Ital Design, renowned Italian engineer Giotto Bizzarini, and even contributions from BMW. The car, weighing 3,300 pounds, was powered by an AMC 390 CI V8 engine delivering 340 horsepower, paired with a 4-speed manual transmission. It boasted impressive performance figures for its time, with a 0 to 60 miles per hour sprint in just over 5 seconds and a top speed of 170 miles per hour. Despite its promise, The AMX3 never made it to AMC showrooms, largely due to its high production cost. The car's projected price was nearly $15,000, only slightly less than that of a Lamborghini Miura, making it financially unviable for AMC. In total, 6 prototypes were built, with a rumored 7th part car, and these vehicles ended up in private collections. Remarkably, these surviving AMX3 look more like production-ready cars than mere prototypes. It's no surprise that one sold at auction in 2017 for nearly $900,000. Next up is another car that didn't quite make it to the streets. Number 14. 1954 Oldsmobile F88. Number 14 is Oldsmobile's F88. In 1953, Chevrolet made waves by debuting the Corvette at the GM Motorama, setting the stage for what would become America's quintessential sports car. The following year, the Motorama showcased another stunning concept, the Oldsmobile F88. Built on the same platform as the C1 Corvette, the F88 was more luxurious, embodying elegance and sophistication. Many still regard it as one of the most beautiful American cars ever designed. Under the hood, the F88 was powered by a high-compression 324 cubic inch Super 88 V8 engine, borrowed from Oldsmobile's series production 88 models, delivering 229 horsepower. This potent engine allegedly allowed the F88 to reach a top speed of 140 miles per hour or 225 kilometers per hour, outpacing the 1954 Corvette in both power and speed. Despite its promise as a more elegant and powerful alternative to the Corvette, the F88 never made it to production. GM management, concerned that it might cannibalize Corvette sales, decided against bringing the concept to market. Of the 4 F88 prototypes built for the show circuit, only 2 are known to have survived. Speaking of survival, this next car managed to outlive its manufacturer comfortably. Number 13. 1954 Packard Panther. Next is the 1954 Packard Panther. Packard was once a prestigious name in American automotive history and produced some of the most iconic cars of its time. Although grab a slice of the muscle car frenzy, all while keeping the budget in check for the average Joe. Built on the same B-body platform as the upscale GTX, the Roadrunner ditched the plush extras but kept all the performance goodies. Essentially, it was the stripped-down athlete with no time for frills. Toss in a Warner Brothers cartoon character for flair, and Plymouth had a hit on its hands. In its debut year, Superbird in the late 60s, Ford sought to create a vehicle that could not only compete with but also surpass these aerodynamically enhanced muscle machines. Ford's president at the time, Bunky Knudsen, gave the project to legendary designer Larry Shinoda, who had already earned acclaim for his work on the Chevrolet Corvette Stingray and the Boss 302 Mustang. Shinoda and his team set out to transform the Torino into an aero warrior capable of dethroning Dodge's NASCAR supremacy. The result was the Ford Torino King Cobra, a car that was visually distinct from its Torino base, thanks to a radically redesigned front end featuring a low, pointed nose and a large, aerodynamic front bumper designed to slice through the air at high speeds. The King Cobra was intended to be a formidable competitor on the track, with 3 prototypes built, each powered by a different version of Ford's 429 cubic inch big block V8 engine, a Boss 429, a 429 Cobra Jet, and a 429 Super Cobra Jet. Initial testing at Daytona showed the King Cobra's potential, as all 3 prototypes were able to exceed 200 miles per hour, a significant milestone for stock cars at the time. However, despite the car's promise, the project encountered several challenges, including handling issues and aerodynamic tweaks that still needed to be addressed. Before Ford could fully develop the King Cobra and homologate it for NASCAR, the landscape of the sport changed. NASCAR, in response to the escalating aero wars and the increasing costs associated with building these specialized race cars, introduced new rules that limited the advantages of such designs. This, combined with a change in leadership at Ford, with Lee Iacocca replacing Knudsen as president, led to the project's abrupt end. The King Cobra never made it to NASCAR, and the 3 prototypes became part of automotive history, a glimpse into what might have been. Next on the list is the most powerful Corvette, the holy grail of Corvette collectors. Number 9. 1969 Chevrolet Corvette ZL1. Number 9 on our list is the Chevrolet Corvette ZL1. When Chevrolet introduced the 3rd-generation Corvette in 1968, it brought with it a strikingly aggressive design, influenced by the popular Coke bottle shape that dominated car design at the time. But the real revolution lay beneath the hood, where Chevy offered an array of powerful V8 engines designed to satisfy the most performance-hungry drivers. In 1969, Chevrolet escalated its performance game by introducing the ZL1 package, which replaced the L88 engine with an all-aluminum, 7-liter V8. This engine was a masterpiece of engineering, designed explicitly for racing, with lightweight construction and incredible power output. Although officially rated at nearly 500 horsepower, it was widely acknowledged that the ZL1 produced even more power, making it one of the most potent engines ever offered in a production car. However, the ZL1 package came with a hefty price tag, at around $4,700, an amount that matched the cost of a base Corvette. The ZL1 option was prohibitively expensive. This price didn't include the mandatory additional options, which added another $550 or so to the total. Consequently, only 3 ZL1 Corvettes were sold to the public, making it one of the rarest and most sought-after Corvettes ever produced. The Corvette ZL1's rarity, coupled with its incredible performance, has made it the holy grail among Corvette collectors and enthusiasts. Its status was further solidified in 2023 when a 1969 Chevrolet Corvette ZL1 fetched a staggering $3.2 million at a Sotheby's auction. Next is another Hemi convertible from Dodge. Number 8. 1967 to 1970 Dodge Coronet RT426 Hemi convertible. Number 8 on our list is the 1967 to 1970 Dodge Coronet RT426 Hemi convertible. In 1967, Dodge rolled out the RT with the brand new 7-liter Hemi V8. And here's where it gets even more exclusive. Only a few of these bad boys were built, and just 2 of them were convertibles. Fast forward to 1970, and the Coronet RT got an updated Hemi engine. Yet again, only 2 of these were drop tops. So, if your dream is to own a rare muscle car convertible, the 1967 and 1970 Coronet RT Hemi are the unicorns you're chasing. But don't get your hopes up too high. Finding one of these is like looking for a needle in a haystack made of gold. When they do pop up, they can fetch over $300,000, with the 1970 models potentially hitting more than $1 million. The 5th-generation Dodge Coronets, 1965 to 1970, were all about raw power and stripped-down simplicity. They weren't exactly built for racing, but slap a 426 Street
personality. Priced around $3 grand in '69, it was affordable yet packed with character. Under the hood, Pontiac offers something unexpected: the overhead Cam6 engine, one of DeLorean's engineering feats. This wasn't your typical V8 roar. Instead, the Le Mans purred with a unique sound thanks to its timing belt-driven straight six. The base Le Mans engine delivered 175 horsepower. Number 34, the 1969 Chevrolet Nova SS 396. Chevy's Nova SS 396